No, I'm actually, do you know what? As much as you want, I try to prepare today. I'm actually really nervous about this, and it's more because with the subject that it is, it's not talked about in this country, you know. A couple of months ago, I've tried to take my life quite a number of times in my life. When I was a child, stuff happened to me that it has shaped the rest of my life, you know. I think it was from the start when I was 11 years of age when it all started. We often ask ourselves when we hear of people who have taken their lives or people who attempt to take their lives, especially at that age, you know, how could they know about such a thing? But as I said, unfortunately, I know how to end mine, you know. It first started off, as I said, when I was 11, and it had started off with maybe, you know, hitting myself in the legs, punching myself, pinching myself. And that might sound a bit odd, but it was the only thing I found, the only outlet I found to stop what was going on up here and in here. That then progressed on then to, actually that's where, do you know what? I had this rehearsed and now, do you know what, I'm kind of lost. But that's where I began my addiction. You don't often hear people saying it, but yeah, I was a drug addict. And I was an alcoholic because it was the only thing I could find. I threw away a lot of opportunities in my life because I was angry. I was resentful. I hated everything and I hated everyone. But yeah, as I said at first, when the self-harm first started, it progressed then to ties around my neck or ropes, and I was testing the waters of just how brave I needed to be. Yeah, and as I said now, to punish everybody, I thought I was punishing everybody, and especially my family and my friends. I threw away my education, and I'm not very proud of this, but I got kicked out of 2 secondary schools and then banned from every other one in the Northwest. I got sent to a youth ridge, I was going to say detention centre, a youth ridge training centre, and you guessed it, I was asked to leave there too. There was times I always wanted to die. There was times most of my life I was happy, you know, but I was sick of wearing the mask. And I always had to pretend, I had to pretend. So when I got into then, I tried to move away when I was 17. Going on 18, I tried to be a chef, the next Gordon Ramsay, mainly because I cursed a lot anyways, but, you know. But I did, I loved cooking. It was actually an outlet for me, you know, and I kept that going for a while. But yeah, I moved up to Donegal and thought everything would be better. But it only got worse. But it got worse because before, no matter how many times these thoughts had come to the head, I always had family, I always had friends there. But this time I had no one. So evidently it didn't work out in the end. But yeah, so over the years, like I didn't build up a CV, I built up a phone book. I was going from job to job to job. Bernard was always right and everybody else was wrong, you know? But yeah, so with the multiple attempts about killing myself, and I know that probably sounds harsh, you know, or it sounds strange for people to hear, but I don't know what it was. I didn't suit the world. I didn't think anybody loved me. I didn't think anyone was ever going to love me. Everything I tried to do failed, even though, like, it didn't matter how many times people told me, Jesus, Bernard, you've done a great job, or, you know, fair play to you, done well. I didn't see it. I only seen the side of me that I wanted to see, and that was the one that wanted to exist and living on this earth. So after all the years of hassle, all the years of trouble, it was in the late September of 2010 where I finally felt ready. Like, I finally felt ready to leave the earth because, again, I just couldn't take it anymore. I tried. I've been to every sort of psychologist. Now, I'm not crazy, by the way, before I go any further. No, but I've been to all of them, and you know, and I don't knock the profession. You know, they kept telling me everything's going to get better, everything's going to get great. They tried to put me on medication, and it wasn't that. Again, it's not about... See, there's a misconception in this country that once you hear mental health, you're going to picture someone that's probably running down the road, flapping their arms or talking away to themselves. It's not like that at all. And I'll tell you why it's not like that. Because, as I said now, in late September 2006, or 2010, sorry, there was just one day, like, I was 26, 27 at the time, and like I went through it for years. But it was just one day I said that was enough. And so that I had a plan and all. Sorry. I tried different methods of suicide. Cut myself, I wasn't brave enough. I had a relation of mine that drowned many years ago, so I thought that, I know I was going to cause hurt and pain for my family, so, and I especially didn't want to cause it for my dad, so I didn't go with that option too. So I done what I knew best, and that was take drugs. At the time, my body was already breaking down. And it wasn't heroin, that was prescription drugs, there was marijuana, there was speed, there was all sorts of concoctions. So when I took what I thought was enough, like I was actually happy. And this next part now is probably going to sound harsh for a lot of people to hear. But I lived with my dad at the time. We lived in a bungalow, you know. Obviously, I always kept the house well. But one night, as I sat in the corner of my bed, and I kind of said goodbyes in my head to my family and my friends, because number one, I didn't want to leave a note, because then they'd have to see that all the time and be reminded, you know. So I was saying my goodbyes, and next thing my dad, he knocked on the door, and he says, "Are you all right, son? You know, don't worry, things are going to get better." Because I was actually awaiting a passport, an express passport, to go out to a place in Italy called Community Shanaklo. Now that probably sounds a bit fancy, but it's a religious type run rehab. I didn't want to stay in Ireland. I don't tell this enough to people, but I was just looking to run away. Yeah, I wanted help, but I just wanted to escape. I wanted to get away from it all. So yeah, but once I knew I had 10 days to wait, that actually added a lot more pressure, because trying to get through the day was tough enough as it was, you know. And so yeah, I took the overdose, and I went to sleep what I thought was the last time. And to be quite honest with you, yeah, life isn't great these days, but like obviously I'm here. But you know, I didn't want to wake up. I was happy. You know, I was actually, when I went to sleep, I was closed my eyes and said, "That's it. That's over." So the next morning, then when I woke up, the first thing I thought was, "Look at you. You're useless. You can't even kill yourself. You're a failure. You're worthless. You're hopeless." And that's honestly what I felt. And I couldn't stop crying. I was just sitting in bed going, "My God, is this, you know, torture?" So when I went out, I opened as I said, I lived with my dad at the time in the bungalow. So when I opened my bedroom door, you could see the hall, you could see the kitchen. So when I opened the bedroom door, my passport was there. There it was. I never thought of the consequences of actually when I was telling the story, because I'd done a radio interview a few months ago, and the radio presenter turned around and goes that what was struck about my story was that if I had succeeded, my dad would have found me. But like anybody else that's tried to, you know, if you try to self-harm or if there's suicide, you're not out there trying to hurt everybody else, you know? You're not trying to show anyone up or anything like that. It's about ending your own suffering and pain. So yeah, 3 days later I was in Italy. I was in a place called Casaleggio. It was in the north of Italy. 10 days later it was my birthday. And there I was, this 26-year-old man, or sorry, 27, don't even know what age I am these days. But there I was sitting down, and I wasn't really like, you know, a holy type person, but I was bawling my eyes out in front of the tabernacle. I didn't care about me. I was more worried about the mess that I had left behind for my family, you know. So, yeah, I stayed there for about maybe 7 to 8 months. And so, yeah, when I came back into Ireland, to be honest with you, I was embarrassed at my behaviour. So I never went back, and I still haven't gone home 7 years later. I still have to actually meet some of my family, you know, nephews, nieces. I've missed funerals, birthdays. But you know what? I was a coward. I call myself a coward. That's not putting me down. It's because it finally dawned on me I didn't have to be angry. Do you know? I didn't have to resent people. And most of all, I didn't have to resent myself. So yeah, I went to live in Cork. And because I had nowhere to go, I started off in the homeless hostels. Now, I've been there 3 times in the last 6 years. And, yeah. Sorry, no, just, you know what, whenever I start talking about the hostel, it brings back an awful lot of memories, because I've watched people getting taken out in body bags. Like, I've seen a lot in my life. You know, I could probably stand here all day talking to you, but I've seen people getting taken out in body bags. People literally slicing themselves in front of, you know, because they've lost all hope. And one of the main reasons, actually, I don't want to waffle on too much, but one of the main reasons for doing this today was I lost a very dear friend of mine 4 years ago. And he was he was a lot worse off than me, do you know? He couldn't really speak. He had kind of the deformities. He was in an accident many years ago. So he'd write out a list that I'd go to the shop for him. Or, you know, just sit down and listen to him. There was 2 times where I seen him cry. Once was I played, like he used to be a DJ. Once I played a song called Martha by Tom Waits. And he just cried. He just like, the tears running down his eyes. And the second time I seen him crying was when he was getting brought into the ambulance, which was, yeah, about 3 days later. Then he had actually jumped into the river and killed himself. Yeah, so as I said, when I first got out of the hostel, I went to a place called Cork Penny Dinners, and it feeds people, like it gives, you know, families that are struggling, people like myself, you know. And so, I probably sound like a child here, but it was suggested to me that I should volunteer as a way of not being lonely, to make new friends and to help. Do you know, I like the thing that the talk today is not giving up, giving back. And I tell you something for nothing. I wish if I knew now what I knew, could have done years ago. Sorry for stumbling, but I'd be a totally different person, because it really opened my eyes to what life is really about, you know. And like, my story is my story, and I always say it to people, if it matters to you, it matters, you know. But there is a lot of people out there that are worse off. But I stayed there for maybe 4 years on and off, and I often wondered, when it closed at 2 o'clock during the day, I often wondered, where did these people go, like, you know? Who talks to them after that? So then I found out about another homeless unit, a group who go around every second Friday. It's called Please Join Me in Helping Cork's Homeless. And yeah, so as I said now, I had a little bit of an advantage, and it didn't make me invincible, but because I was homeless and I knew 99% of the people that, you know, they could relate to me, they could talk to me. So then we started up our own group, and it's not just a small operation. What we do is just go around every night, kind of talking to people, you know, listening, feed them, you know, make up little care packs where we hand them clothes. And it's more so just to listen to them, you know. Yeah, and as I said, now we have lost, like, we have saved a few people, but we've also lost people. 3 weeks ago, I organised this. It was like a beauty therapy day for some of the homeless women. Now, by and large, like, fellas, we can look after ourselves. That's not been sexist, you know, that sort of way. But I think more about the women on the street, because I've heard some most horrendous stories, and, you know, some of them I probably couldn't repeat here today. But anyways, my point of that story was, it went well, the therapy day was well. 2 of the ladies ended up turning up in the end. But yeah, and then last week, then there was a follow-up interview about it. And usually me, as you can probably tell, like, I love talking. Usually I don't stutter this much or stumble this much, but there was a radio interview anyways, and your man was talking away, the radio presenter, saying how nice it was and all the rest. I don't like the kind of, oh, Jesus, Bernie, you've done a great job and all, fair play to you. Because I couldn't be here today without the help that I've got in my life, you know. But a couple of months ago, we saved a guy who was about to jump into the river, and he's 4 kids. And he even said it that night to me when I was waiting for the emergency services, that he knows he's going to leave the kids without a father, but he's unhappy. You know, he said he's unhappy. He doesn't know why, but he knows why, if you know what I mean. But anyways, during the course of the interview, I was asked, could I hold on for a second? And another man came on, and it was the guy that we saved. He called me guardian angel. He started saying all these nice things about helping him. But what really struck me was that he said, you saved 4 kids from losing their father. And, you know, there's 100 stories I could tell you, and I really kind of, you know what, I probably didn't do it enough justice today. What I'm basically trying to say is that, like, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to cry, and it's okay to talk. And I wish I knew that years ago, and then I wouldn't have lost my family. I wouldn't have lost all my friends. And maybe, do you know what, I often feel like a child, and because I'm alone there for the last few years. I have friends, but I'm still, you know, it's still just me. But yeah, so I just, like, the talk, before I go, I just wanted to say to you that the point of the talk today was, I'm not giving up and giving back. But you know what, this is like a dream for me today. So the real message is, please take that chance and not your life. Thank you very much.